So hello fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And I have another car mechanic horror story. This time is another time that my brakes went bad and I took it to a mechanic that I had taken it to before who I wasn't entirely satisfied with. Well, I guess I was satisfied with him the first time he had to fix my brakes. It just took a while to get there to be satisfied. So I took the car there to him again because the brakes were soft, and as it turned out, this time it was the master cylinder. I guess there was something that was wrong with that master cylinder. So I wasn't going anywhere because I didn't have anybody to pick me up. So whenever he was gonna do it, I was just there. So he took out the master cylinder. It was full of brake fluid, completely. As he started dissecting it, every single compartment was full of brake fluid. Now, I didn't really think too much. I thought that was wow. As soon as you think it's done, there's more in it still. That's what I thought. But I didn't realize that, it has to be like that. You can't have any air bubbles or anything in it because air is more easily compressed than the brake fluid. So that would mean that, when you press the pedal, the car wouldn't stop right away. So I just, so what happened is that apparently there is a kind of a payment. So they'll pay you if, or there's a discount on the master cylinder if you bring back the old one. So the guy, you buy one, and then you go to the mechanic, and the mechanic puts in the new one, and then you have to take back the old master cylinder to the place you bought it at, and I guess they'll give you back some money for it. So that's how it was going to go. So anyway, I had to go first to get the new master cylinder, come back. There with the guy as he's taking it apart. Like I said, there's so much brake fluid in it. He takes it all the way apart, and then he puts in the new one. And I don't know, I guess it was taking a little bit longer than he wanted it to take. He was supposed to go and meet his mother-in-law somewhere. So I think he was supposed to clear out, in addition to the brake fluid, the brake master cylinder. I guess you're supposed to dunk it in some brake fluid and make sure all the bubbles come out. You're supposed to clear every line, like every brake line, separately. You're supposed to press on the brake pedal. I think this might be for any brake job that you do. You press on the brake pedal, keep pumping it, and there's going to be froth that's coming out at the individual brake. So like on each of the 4 tires, there's going to be froth coming out of there. You're going to take it apart so that you can see the froth is coming out of the brake line, and then you keep pumping until it's a clear stream of brake fluid, and then you snap it. Make sure that you tighten the brakes at that point so that you know that there's no air in the brake system, all right? And you're supposed to do it for each one of the 4 tires to make sure that all the air is completely out of the system. So anyway, I think it was that he might have done, the 1 or the 2. And at this time, I'm telling you this now because I have a little bit more experience with it. I've kind of done it on my own after this time, and I kind of know how it's supposed to go. So, but at the time when I was there, he was just saying how, he has to go, he's so busy, he can't really do this. So, I didn't know whether or not he was cutting corners or not. Honestly, I had no idea. So Everything is good. He puts it together. I drive over to the place to return the master cylinder um, in order to get my money back. And while I'm there returning the master cylinder to get my money, there is a big mat. One of those counter mats, a big plastic mat. And on that mat is a step-by-step guide as to how to replace the master cylinder on your car. And I realize that this dude has missed a bunch of steps to replacing the master cylinder on my car. And yeah, my brakes were always soft. That's pretty much what happened. I could see that he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and my brakes were soft for years and years after until, I got rid of the car eventually. So that one kind of really hurt my feelings, I think, because, he had this one-time thing that he was late for, so my car would permanently operate at a substandard level because he didn't want to be late for this thing one day. And unfortunately, this is something that, I realize is my father we went to somebody's house to help them do something, and he wanted to go because, okay, we're done here. And I'm like, listen, I don't want to do this to someone. I don't want to be in a hurry to do something, so I just do a crappy job for the person. I don't feel right about doing that. So I don't know how other people feel about it, but for me, yeah, that feels kind of icky to do something like that, to pass that along to somebody else. So I really wasn't too happy about that. Seeing as we have a couple of minutes, I guess I'll throw in another story. I think I was about 12 or so, and this is a story that's similar to others that I have seen in different hidden camera things. So anyway, I went with my mother to an auto mechanic place. It was a chain, well, not really a chain mechanic, but it was a big time automotive place. It wasn't just a guy. And anyway, this is more or less a short one. The people were supposed to replace something on the car, and when my mother checked, it was, when she looked at it, it was the same dirty, greasy looking part that was there. It wasn't a new part where they said that there was a little yellow mark or so on it, but apparently they just didn't change it. And they said they changed it, and they wanted to charge my mother for it, but she was pretty upset, and we just left. And I was like, oh my god, maybe they're gonna come after us. Nothing, no calls, no nothing. I figured they know, or they knew that they hadn't done anything, so they just let it drop. But yeah, that's a pretty simple one. As far as I recollect, I was looking at the part, and as a kid, I don't know how dirty these things are supposed to be, but I do remember it wasn't like looking like any clean part that had just been replaced. It was just a mark on it, like maybe a yellow paint or some kind of craziness on it. And it's really sad, but it's a fact of life that when there is a disparity or a lack of knowledge on the part of somebody who is the client, it's easy for someone to take advantage of you. So I would always advise people to at least have some basic understanding or knowledge of what it is that might be the problem with your car or anything for that matter, that you need a professional to attend to. Because, beyond auto mechanic horror stories, there are plumbing horror stories that I can mention, there are roofing horror stories, there are electrical horror stories. It's just across the board. If people don't even have a basic understanding, and if they don't even want to ask questions, and if somebody gives a confusing answer, you keep asking until you understand. And if they find that that is a problem, then you just thank them for whatever they've done and go on to somebody else. Because if it's something that makes sense, it should make sense. Even to somebody who's not familiar with the exact details of what you're doing, things that make sense make sense. And if you understand what you're doing, you should be able to explain to somebody what a particular part does or why you're doing what you're doing. So that'd be my advice to anybody. Anyway, guys, you can wish me luck, you can like or unlike, you can comment, subscribe, and or share. Peace.